We'll call our meeting to order and ask clerk, please call the roll.
Mayor Hatley,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Baldwin.
Here.
Councilman Collins. Councilwoman Fontana.
Here.
Councilman Skidmore.
Here.
Councilman Thomas. Mayor, you have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. And we're moving into unfinished business. That will be the second public hearing regarding the First Amendment to the separate and independent amendment to the Parkway Group Plan Development District Master Development Agreement, revising the preserves. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Well, we really don't have to have a motion. We're in public hearing.
Public hearing, yes.
I'm sorry.
Have it.
Highlights of what
Okay.
the amendment to the development agreement, what those are. The developer for the preserve area of the Parkway PDD Group is requesting an amendment to the separate and independent amendment to the preserve as follows. A decrease in the total residential development units from 826 to 609 in three separate phases or segments of the development. Number one, 135 Bayberry residential development units. Number two, 247 retreat RDUs from the original 229 build-to-rent RDUs, I apologize. Number three, 227 Indigo RDUs, formerly the paired villas. The triggers for completion of the amenity areas are as follows. Regarding the Bayberry RDUs and retreat RDUs, the respective amenity areas for these segments will be completed at or before the issuance of certificates of occupancy for 50% of the RDUs in these segments. In other words, 67 Bayberry RDUs and 123 retreat RDUs. Regarding the Indigo RDUs, the amenity area will be completed on or before the issuance of a certificate of occupancy for 85% of the RDUs in this segment, which is 192 Indigo RDUs. The developer also made edits to the proposed amendment to the development agreement regarding the status of roads, clarifying which roads are public or private, and that private roads will be maintained by a private owners association. The developer also clarified that the retreat and Bayberry segments shall provide curbside trash collection services paid through a private owners association. The document also now contains language that the developer shall record cross-access easements on all private driveways within the retreat segment in favor of all adjoining lots located on the same street. And those are essentially the highlights of the amendment to the development agreement.
Okay. Are there any questions? Well, my question is, we have some concerns about the new plan. And how can we pass this if we have those concerns?
Well, today's meeting is in reference to the development agreement, or the amendment to the development agreement, and we have to have the second public hearing, which we've just completed doing that. And Mary, you may want to open up to the public after we finish our discussion, if there are any publics from the comment, or any comments from the public, rather, regarding the amendment to the development agreement.
Okay.
But getting back to your question, how can we pass this? What you may want to do is host the first or the second public hearing, pass the development agreement on first reading, and then if you have issues with the site plan itself, that's all coming back together, the DA and the PDD at the March, 17th meeting? So it'll come back to you at March 17th, both of those items together. And if you have concerns or issues with the site plan and the PDD itself, you can address those issues at that time.
Yeah, well, we could do that. We've done that.
Yeah.
We did it on the plan. We've have a first reading on the plan. But I just don't want to pass something and we know that we're not satisfied.
You will not be passing or approving of the PDD at this meeting. This meeting just concerns the development agreement and basically to catch the development agreement up to
Okay.
where the PDD is. And again, if you have concerns with the project itself and its totality,
Right,
you can address those at second reading on the 17th.
okay.
I too have a quick question. On Indigo, the trigger at 85%, is that changed? Because I thought it was 50%.
I think that was, I want to say it was always 85%. Is that correct?
No. So the trigger originally was 50% for all three parcels. We're asking for Indigo to be 85%. The logic is, if you pull up the original site plan and look where the amenity site is, it's a little less than an acre. We moved it to a new location and made it 1.78 acres. But it also, by moving it, it went further away from the lift station. So we're delivering our first set of lots in September, and we won't have water and sewer runs up to the amenity center in time for that, right? So we don't want to delay those lots. It's precautionary for them to, if they started building in January, say they take the rest of this year to get their construction documents approved for the amenities. If they started building in January, it would take about 16 months to hit that 50% mark. So I think they'll have the amenity center done in time, but we have a relationship with the home builder. They're concerned that I'm delivering the amenity center late. No good deed goes unpunished. We thought we were doubling the size of the amenity, and in reality, we moved it further away from where the lift station is. And as you guys know, you have to start your development at the lift station for the gravity sewer and work your way back up. So.
About the rest of council, I'm not real keen on the 85%, but
Well, I agree.
100%. Actually, I had a note for that question.
Is there a number we're more comfortable with that's higher than 50?
I would say 50.
Okay.
I think that's kind of normally what we've seen.
I think it is too.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be 50.
Okay.
I don't have any more questions or any other questions. Does anyone else have any other questions?
Do we have a reduction in the green space that, from our previous application? Do we know that?
I'll let the planning department address that. And Mary, again, we may want to ask if there's anyone from the public that wants to comment on the development.
Sure.
The applicant has represented that the numbers are more with this application than they were in the entitled project.
But one thing we are losing, we're losing that nice green space that was between the units and that trail all the way up to the other section. And that's what originally, when I went along with it, is I like that aspect. You had the trail going up there, I think it tied into another trail somewhere else. And what we're changing into now, just doesn't, I'm just not satisfied with it. I'd rather stick with what's been approved and let it go with that.
There was a couple of questions or concerns from Public Works. One was, it was a 3-lane section, trying to read here, was approaching the development from the west is the way it's written here, and that plan now indicates it's a two-lane section. There was concern with that.
I'm just going to bring up the plan that references.
so currently the approach on Henry Road from the adjacent development to the west, southwest, is constructed a three-lane section and has not tapered that three-lane section. They just stopped the three-lane section at the end of their property. What the currently approved PDD depicts was just the continuation of that three-lane section from the adjoining property onto this development site. And then if you look at what was submitted in the large-scale plans that we got on Friday morning, or late Thursday, it is depicting narrowing that down to a two-lane section, so you're gonna have 500 feet or so, I don't know the exact distance, of a two-lane section. You're gonna go three-lane, two-lane, three-lane, which we just think wasn't an efficient road design.
Is there a reason we changed that?
So nothing has been changed. That street is permitted. If you read in the development agreement and in the site plan, it spells what cross-section we're supposed to use. It's the 70-foot rural collector, and that is to a T what we initially designed. Kevin didn't like it. We came back, we added curbing, which is not in the cross-section that is specified in both the development agreement and the narrative. So we went back, and where there was entry, or like left-hand turns and right-hand turns, we widened it out to 3 lanes. That's not what's in the development agreement and the narrative. We did go above and beyond what is spelled out, and that's, I'll say we had Kevin sit down with Chris last year and kind of work out all the details, right? And we all came to an understanding, so I'm surprised to see that comment come up. Again, that site, or that road is fully permitted. I mean, they're putting base down, like, it's under construction, right? We're not proposing any change to it right now than what's already approved.
But there's been no changes made?
We improved it, yes.
But no lowering it from the original plan?
No, ma'am. We've added curbing and we've widened it out where Kevin thought appropriate. But, I mean, it is very clearly spelled out what cross-section to use in the narrative, in the development agreement and in the narrative.
Okay.
I was wanting to know where the confusion is.
There's a discrepancy in the approved site plan, which is what you see here, which is shown as a 3-lane section. And then there may be a discrepancy in the described cross-section, which was originally approved by council in the PDD change the last time. The two do not match.
They don't match?
They do not match. I was reviewing based on the approved site plan. I did not go back and look at the approved PDD or the approved DA to see what that cross-section was. That was an oversight on the review for the currently approved PDD, and it just has not, and it's proposed to be changed for this section.
I also saw there was some concern still with the, being able, a car to back out of the garage and be able to turn around in the 20-foot alleyway. And I know we increased the size of that, but not the street itself. I thought, that there was concern about the width of the actual road only being 20 feet. And it's still 20 feet.
Sure.
Thought,
Are you asking for it to be less
No.
or more?
no, I thought we were looking at, I thought there was some concerns by, I think Councilman Coyne and Councilman Skidmore talked about it being, it needed to be more like 25 feet.
Sure. I mean, I don't mind. We can make that 25 feet, but at some point, you're pouring a lot of concrete to just look at. I'm fine with, if you want to make it 25 feet concrete, there's no problem there.
What will we lose? What?
It's just, so there's little pods of, like shrubbery, right? So when you make it wider, it's just you're removing that kind of, it's not green space, but it's like a nice landscaping, right? It just has curb appeal. And your car doesn't hit it. There's no like mobility on that. So I don't really see a reason. It's not me not wanting to spend money on concrete. I just think it just takes away these little landscaping pods.
Well, let me ask you, what happened to the green space and the walking trails? I mean, on the new plan, that's gone. That's totally gone.
So the green space has shifted to other areas, but the amount of it, the count of it is there.
Well, it may be, but it's not what was planned, where you have that center section of green space for people to use. I mean, if you got a piece of green here and a piece of green there, that does not,
Oh, no, it's a wonderful green space. I think we really need to bring up the site plan that has the large photo.
I mean, the photo, with all respect, the photos are nice. But we've seen that, and we've seen some really nice, drawings through the years. And, it usually has a little bit blurb about it's the artist or a rendering, it's their interpretation of it. But it seems that a lot of times that when it comes right down to it, when we do get the final set of plans or what gets built, it's not always 100% representative of it. Well, it looks nice as a concept or a vision. I think it's great, but there's a certain point that the folks have to live here. It has to be livable. And originally we were, I think all of us, at least for myself, we're kind of sold on the whole concept of we took the site as an overall, we pulled the density in closer together to compartmentalize it, if you will, and then left us other areas where we could spread some buildings apart. We had these green corridors in there. We had walking trails. We had all kinds of other amenities. Well, this latest version is we've just taken, appears to me, the majority of that out, shoved all of it together, and it's just.
So, Fred, I hear you, but you have to remember that what else changed on this plan at the request of Planning Commission, and we're happy with, is that all of those little cottage houses in the top left-hand corner, so 50% of the units have one-car garages. We made those two-car garages, so you're adding a 10-foot width to, 115 homes. It does take up space, right? I mean, every change has unintended consequences, but that was something that I thought everyone was very happy with, was going to two-car garages. But, it does take up room. It's 10-foot more width on every house.
I may or may not have been listening, but
To me?
the best I can recall that, I don't recall the two-car garage being a point of discussion with us. Maybe I just missed it. Maybe I wasn't paying attention.
It was
to that
Planning
moment.
Commission.
But I think the whole point I'm getting to is, this is nothing in comparison to the original community that we approved. I mean, I can't see the way to connect it, the dots there. And it's nice that, I think that what you've done at the point of, is Bayberry there? That
Yes.
section, that looks nice. It looks real nice. I mean, that looks very doable project, looks consistent with a lot of other stuff that looks nice around town and within the area. But when we get over to the retreat, it's all compressed in there, it's all shoved in there, and it just, I mean, I have no way to get behind that.
Understood.
What about this, just food for thought? Since there seems to be, I have a lot of issues with the changes. I just think the way the green space is laid out right now is very, very nice. But to potentially keep what's currently approved, but do away with the commercial space, let you put units there in exchange, now this is just one person, in exchange for that, creating more space or taking out a row of units and give that place in the back some breathing room. It is so
The
tight.
density doesn't change. I mean, we can definitely go back to one-car garages, and that'll give us a good amount of space.
But that's not going to change.
We don't. Let's bring up the DA, or the approval. Do you have the original site plan that they've been looking at?
Titled one?
Yes. Does this help right here? But these are all one-car garages. The second car that's required, the count is on the street. So what we did was reshift all of the parking so that it was pretty much a 2-0 across the entire property, instead of being heavy on one set of units and very light on another set of units. And again, that was at the request of Planning Commission. Like these changes we've been making throughout the process.
But that doesn't necessarily solve the issue between, when you turn down those alleyways, you're only dealing with, now, and this one, I don't know if that's still 35 feet, or are we dealing with any difference in the width? The width between the buildings are the same. That hasn't modified, whether you put the parking in a two-car garage or on the street.
Okay.
Okay. The issue I have is the bottleneck. Now, one thing about it, with this one-car garage, instead of having, what do you have, 4 units or 5 units? I can't quite, I don't have my other map with me. In the new proposed one, is at least you only have 3, so you don't have to drive, well, you still have to drive that distance, but at least you got some of the cars out there, and they have to all fight on this one street. Everybody can fight out there on
Sure.
the parking lot.
But the reason that change was made was also at the request of this council and planning commission. So this street, we were asked to put a jog in this street so it wouldn't just be a drag strip, I think someone called it. So what we did was add a row of units there, put the jog in, and I think it lays out much better. I mean, I think the recommendations were good, so I'm surprised to be here to hear this. If I could find the other plan. Here, so I think this lays out much better with the jog in the street. I mean, I'm surprised that, you know, we've kind of been working towards this to hear these changes. You know, I understand visually the green space looks smaller, but it is still substantial. And count-wise is no smaller than what was originally approved on a percentage basis. Look, you know, there are home builders that are going to spend a significant amount of money on this. We're not idiots, right? Like, it has to be able to sell. This isn't something we build and never get our money back.
Any other comments?
I'll be honest with you, and I don't mean to harp, and I'm not trying here to beat you up, but first off, I don't appreciate the way perhaps staff has been referred to on more than one occasion in this meeting and other meetings. First, that's rather disheartening. Second of all,
What was that?
the way that you referred to staff.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, it's just the comments you just made it, and maybe it's just the way I hear it when you say it. It's just the way you had mentioned to Kevin a minute ago. Referred to that. Well, that's not quite exactly true. So I don't, you know, that is one thing I've had about as much as I can personally take on that. And that's not something, the one thing you typically get upset about, but you're pushing me. The other one is, I'll be honest with you, in my opinion, I think you need to take an eraser to this whole site and start over. Again, you know, you've taken something that was, you know, a little on the high density, a little push, you know, and I think was doable. And then now you've tried to take more and kind of took something from over here and then shoved a bunch more over there. In my opinion, I think you just need to take, like I said, take an eraser to the site, at least on these 2 sections of the retreat and Bayberry.
Do we not like Bayberry? Is that?
And take both of, pardon me.
Well, I just
Treat
think
the
there's
two
so many. Look, I want to do this project. I want to lower the density in the whole belt. But I think there's too many concerns. And I hear it from just about all council. And if surely that all council isn't wrong. I think if I were you, I'd pull this whole thing. And I would what I'm trying to do. And I would try to redesign it to where the roads are more satisfying, the green space is more satisfying, and all the other concerns that you've heard.
Sure, I will discuss that, and we'll either have the vote on Monday or we'll pull it, but I'll have that discussion with my people and we can move
That's
forward.
exactly what I would do. Because I want to see this project.
I just have a feeling that it's, sure, okay.
We're not
understand.
beating up on you. I know you feel like we are, because you've been here over and over and over. I guess that's your job. It's not always pleasant, is it? But I do want to work with you. And I know Councilwoman Fontana wants to really make this project happen. And I've heard from others that they do too. But we can't. But we can't do it. We can't do it as submitted. I think a better design can be created,
Sure,
okay?
understood. Thank you.
So,
I don't want to pull it, though, at this point. I don't want to pull it, just to be clear.
you don't want,
I don't want to pull it from next week.
okay.
I want to leave it on there. I need to talk to my people.
Okay. That'll
they-
be fine if you
Yep.
want to.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, though.
Perfect, thank you. Thanks.
Okay, that was the public hearing. Item B is the ordinance on the first reading. Oh, is there someone that would like to speak? Pardon? Not now. Okay. It's an ordinance on the first reading. It's the first amendment to the separate and independent amendment to the Parkway Group Plan Development District, PDD Master Development Agreement, revising to preserve and to authorize the interim city manager to sign the documents on behalf of the city. Is there a motion to accept? If there's no motion to accept, then the ordinance dies for today. Okay, I mean, you've got to vote on it.
Make changes.
You're right, you're right. Well, we can, I tell you what, I'll make the motion. You want
Second.
it's on the table. And if, I'm fine with doing the first reading, but I'm not fine going through with the second reading till changes are made. Okay? So, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Okay. We'll be moving to new business as an ordinance on the first reading to extend by 1 month the timing that the business identified as Rapid Weight Loss and Aesthetic Center may occupy the building located at 1006 6th Avenue South, which was recently acquired by the city. Is there a motion to accept?
So moved.
Any comments?
They just needed some extra time.
Any comments from the public? If not, we'll close public comment and take our vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? If there's no other business, anyone want to come before the public and speak are welcome to at this time? No? Okay, we'll close public comment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The meeting is adjourned.